Namaste and welcome to episode 11 of Flutter plus Upright tutorial series. After the completion of this tutorial, we'll add these features in our application. So if you look at the application running here, we have now added the currency symbol in front of the currency, and we have added one more navigation in the bottom app bar for settings. And if we go to settings, we have two drop downs. We can choose country and then we can choose the currency. And if we hit save, once it is updated, our currency symbol is updated. So this is what we'll be doing in this tutorial. Let us get started. So this is where we left off in episode 9. So we added search feature, and then we also added a report feature where we could select a date range. So if I select this date range, we get a report of total income and expense, also list of transactions. Now to begin with, inside our features folder, let us add a new folder called settings, and inside that let us create two more folders, data and presentation. Inside data, let's add another folder called model, and inside this we'll create a few different models that is required for country and other things. In presentation, let's add a folder called pages, and in here I'll add a new page called settings.dart, and here I'll set up a new stateless widget, settings page for now. And in the core routes, let's add our route. So here I add a constant string settings, and for case settings page. So there is a duplicate between this setting here and this name setting, so let me change this to settings page. Okay, we have a route setup. Let's add a setting icon in the bottom app bar. So in our feature home, in the bottom navigation bar, let's add another icon button. Settings, and on pressed, push named app routes dot settings page. Now we should be able to navigate to the settings page. Now before adding anything in the settings page, first I would like to create few models that are required. So first, country.dart, so the country will have name and code. Next, from JSON, country dot from JSON, this will return name and code code, and finally to map, this should return name code. Our country model is ready. Let's add a currency model. So in the same folder, currency dot. So for currency, I have a code snippet. I'll just copy and paste. You can find this code. I'll provide the link of this repository in the description below, so you can find that code here. So for currency, we have symbol, name, native symbol, decimal digits, rounding, code, name, plural name. So we'll not be using all of these, but for now we'll just make the model that has all these fields, and we have from JSON and to JSON options here that will convert our model from JSON to currency and from currency to JSON, so that we can save it in JSON format. So we have currency and country model. One more model I would like to add is the user preference prefs.dart, and this will be a simple one. Class country currency, and let's create a constructor. Let's make this named fields, and let's make from JSON country JSON country is not equal to null, then from JSON country, otherwise null. Same goes for currency not equals null, then from JSON currency, otherwise null. Okay, so now we have the models ready. Now I'd like to add functions from which we can get a list of currency and list of countries. So Appright provides a Locale API from which we can do bunch of things. I'd like to show what is possible with the Appright docs. So in docs, if we check the localization API, we have a local API. So using this API, we can get the users locale. We can even get their current country based on location, based on their IP address. But currently we are using a local setup. We are using local installation of Appright. So this will not give us the proper or any output, because our IP will be local IP, that is 127.0.0.1. So this will not be useful. But there are other functions like list countries. So we can get a list of countries. This is what we'll be using. And then we can also get a list of phone codes if we like, continents and currencies. So these two APIs, that is what we will be using in this tutorial. So in the auth, in presentation notifier auth state. So in auth state, I'll be adding those API functionalities. So in auth state, the first function that I will make is get countries. So let's make the function. Countries asynchronous function try Okay, first we need locale. Let me set up here. Locale, and in init locale is equal to locale client, and then in countries here we'll do locale dot get countries. If status code equals 200, then what we'll do is we'll create a list of countries. So list countries. Let's make a getter. So get countries. So we have a getter for countries here. In get countries, if status code is 200, how we get country is like this: NP Nepal, US. So this is the response of this locale dot get countries. So this is the response structure. So what I'll do here is res.data as map string dynamic. So I'll take this as map, and for each key value pair, what I will do is first I will set up this underscore countries to be empty list, and then in underscore countries dot add, I'll add a new country, and here I provide code will be the key and name will be the value. So this is how we can make a list of countries from our response data. Else, we don't even need this else condition here. Catch E, if we have a, we'll just print the error. So we have a function to get countries, not okay. Next we'll make a function to get currencies. So I'll just duplicate this, okay, and here I'll make currencies and getter underscore currencies, and this get countries will become get currencies, and this will change to get currencies. And now for currencies we can simply do list currency from data.map data from JSON data. So this is how we can get a list of currency, and we'll assign it to currencies. Finally, we'll add one more function that will get the user preference. So first here let's set up prefs. Let's make a getter. Okay, and let's just duplicate this. So get user preference, and instead of locale here we'll use account dot get preference, and here preps is equal to preps dot from JSON rest data. Okay, so we have all three functions. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to create a function that will call all of these functions in the beginning. So load settings, let's add a boolean here, loaded, and initially this will be false. Okay, and here if settings loaded, return. So if settings is already loaded, we'll just return. If currencies is null, we will get currencies. Let's make this asynchronous. Okay, if underscore countries null, get countries. If traps null, get user traps. Settings loaded true, notify listeners. So this will load the settings. Now finally we are ready to make our settings page, but before that, in pubspec.yaml I'd like to add one dependency, that is drop down search 0.4.4, and let's run flutter pub get. This drop down search makes it very easier to add a searchable drop down. Now in settings.dart, first we'll do is we'll convert this into stateful widget. So let's convert to stateful widget, and here country, we add few variables, currency, init state, let me import provider, once I have the provider, I can use context dot read instead of provider of context. So we have a new function in latest version of provider. So we are reading auth state and we are calling load settings. Okay, and preps is equals to auth state dot preps. So we have preference, country is equals to preps dot country, or we'll add a country, new country name. We are just providing the default country. Okay, and same for currency. If null, currency will provide code PR, name P, and symbol will be NRS. Okay, so we have a default value. Now in the build function, country context.watch auth state countries. Let's do the same for currencies. Okay, we have a list of countries and currencies. So finally here what we'll do is, if country is not null and if currency is not equal to null, this should be 3 dots. Here we'll use drop down search of type country and we'll provide few different options. Unchanged country set state country. Okay, compare function will get two countries, country A and country B. Our compare function should be a dot code equals if country code equals, then they are equal. So selected items true and label country menu mode item as string will be, we'll get a country here, we'll just return country.name. Items will be countries and on find. So for searching, when we have a query, we'll just do future.value country from countries. We are just making a copy of these countries and applying where filter. Element.name contains query. To list. So this is our drop down search. Let me try again. So save. Let's go to settings page. It's not working. Let me check our debug console. Okay, so whether or not restarted settings. Okay, now we have a drop down button. Getter code was called on null. Let's see. Okay, underscore country. Okay, so here selected item, initially country should be selected. So now we have a option to search. Now autofocus search box true. So if we do this, now let me just go back and come here again. Hot restart settings. Okay, so autofocus search is okay, we need to show search box true so that search box is visible. Now we can search like this. So we have a country drop down selector. Let's just make a duplicate, and here let's change this currency. This should be currency and also rename this currency compare function. So for currency also we can just use the code. If code are equal, then they are equal. Level currency, let's rename this currency. Item will be currencies, and list of currency from currencies. Okay, so now we have currency as well. Let's put this inside this, and let's give a height, let's give a gap, maybe 20. Okay, now we can select currency as well. Finally, let's add our save button that will update user preference. So here if processing, then will show circular progress indicator, otherwise will show text save. And finally on pressed, if processing, just a empty function, otherwise here we will save preferences. Okay, set state processing true, save set state processing false. So in order to save, we need to create a function in our auth state again. So in auth state, I'll add a new function called update preference. So here account dot update preference will use this function, and if status code equals 200, then we get the preference as written. So we'll update and notify listeners, otherwise we don't have to do anything. Here catch e, print e, we're just printing the error for now. So we have update function in our settings.dart. Now we will call this function. So here await read auth state dot update preference, and our preference will be country to map, currency will be currency dot to JSON. Okay, with this we can now hit save, and this will update our preference. Now what remains is we need to use those currency symbols in our designs. So let me close all and let me open transaction list item. Okay, so in transaction list item, where we are displaying the text, where we are displaying the amount. Where is the amount? Here we are displaying the amount. Here I'd like to add the currency symbol. So I'll create a function here that will return a currency symbol, string, and context.watch authState.preps if return empty, else return $currency.symbol. Okay, to use context.watch we need to import provider. Okay. And finally here where we are displaying our amount, let me change this dollar transaction. We don't need to string now, and before this I'll just use dollar underscore get currency. Okay, so once I save this, the currency symbol, okay, authState needs to be imported. Now the currency symbol should be displayed in front of the currency here. Let's do the same for the details page. Okay, in transaction details page again we'll add the currency symbol in front of our amount. So here we'll do the same. Let's just copy this function. Okay, and also copy the amount function here. So instead of using this, we'll use this, and let's import. Okay, so this also adds the NRS, the currency symbol in front. Finally, while adding as well, we'd like to add the currency symbol in front of the amount. So in add transaction page, so we'll create a function fill context. Here again let's copy and paste these, and let us import this, and if preference is null, we'll just return null instead of any widget. Else what we'll return is a sized box of width say 60, and height will be theme of context dot icon theme dot size, and child will be center child text, and here we'll use the same preps dot currency dot symbol. Now we have the get currency function. We like to use it in the amount field. So in amount field, in prefix icon, get currency context. So this should show our currency here as well. Now if we go back to our settings, change the currency. For now let's just change the currency and press save. If we come back, now our currency symbol is updated everywhere. So thank you everyone for watching this tutorial. I hope this was useful. In this tutorial we learned some of the useful features of AppWrite, but underrated features. So we learned how to use the Locale API to get a list of countries and currencies. Also, we learned how to use account preference API to save user settings and load user settings in our application. Thank you. See you again in the next video.